Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Rassler Review, starring the crew, the captain, the first mate, and the stowaway. Today we're doing... I can't.
I had to. Come on, he's a weirdo, right?
Yeah. Oh my
look
god.
Look at the startup of Kane and then Glen Jacobs. By the way, Mr. Jacobs is from the state that we reside in. So just FYI, he lived about 45 minutes north of here.
Which is kind of awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I actually worked with a gentleman who knew him in high school, so it was pretty cool. Before he became
Dr. Isaac Yankum.
That's right.
Greatest gimmick ever.
Yeah, it was pretty rough,
Evil
man.
Dentist.
But yeah, Kane, Rassler Review. I mean, so him coming in as Dr. Isaac Yankum in Royal Rumble 1990
Ooh,
something.
Let's get a little more obscure.
Uh-oh.
He was the Christmas creature in
That's
Memphis.
yeah.
He dressed up as a Christmas tree.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so Glen Jacobs came a long way. He more or less came on to scene as Kane more than he did his other characters.
Let's not forget Fake Diesel.
Well, yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
You know, really thinking about it, it's been a rough go to get to
Kane. Yeah, I mean, so even wasn't Kane supposed to just be a passover character as well? It wasn't supposed to stick around for a while. It was supposed to be like, hey, here's a story, let's run it. Here's this guy we got who's big. He's kind of like Fake Taker, right? He was Fake Taker. Well, let's take Fake Taker a little bit more. Let's run the same guy. Let's put a mask on him. Here's a storyline. And that was supposed to be it.
I believe so, yeah.
But when he came out, that changed things quickly because that gimmick worked for Glenn. Like that was it. And I
Slow
think
plotting starts to matches, then all of a sudden the breakout speed.
yeah, and the resemblance from Taker, and it didn't take away from Taker. It added value to Kane. There for a while, he was just like Taker's brother that was weird, that slept with dead girls, that had a weird voice, and then he had no hair, and then Kane his character has went through the wide spectrum of just everything. He was like corporate Kane, and he's been everything. But the thing about him was he could still work.
Yeah, and I
He could
think,
still work.
especially for Kane, things that would have killed other characters, he's made work.
He forced a child inside Lita, so we're not forgetting that too.
Yeah, but
And he was the baby face.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so since we're doing the Rassler reviews, as we focus on the few keys that we rate every wrestler on, it doesn't mean anything against them or for them. It's our personal opinions. It's completely subjective as moves, entrance, promo, character, attire, and then we rate them overall as a wrestler comparatively. We've done from Taka Michinoku to Gold Dust. We've done Jacqueline, terrible Great Khali. We've also done our factional, fictional, the great, what was it, the Blob?
The Revolting Blob.
Revolting Blob, and we did El Super Beasto, flat out 10s for Beasto. So, all right, so let's just pick on the first portion, the elements here that we're going to rate Kane on and his moveset. So what would you guys, from 0 to 10, so we say, that 1 to 4 is that, lower end, that 4 to 6 is that 4 to 7, 4 to 6 is like that
4 to 6, yeah.
is about the average, and then 7 plus is
Good.
you're up there, you're really good at what you do. And
I loved Kane, so I'm going to be a little bit more on the higher side probably, because, he basically did just steal the choke slam and the tombstone from Undertaker, so to me that loses a couple of points for originality. It made sense during that storyline, but afterwards. But I just loved his uppercuts. They were amazing to me. The way he just slapped his chest right as he was hitting him right at the perfect time.
bat.
Yeah, he's higher end for me too, and it's because he understood what he was and he had the perfect moveset for what he was. Obviously look at Kane. He's not going to be doing 5-star frog splashes,
That'd be amazing.
That would be horrifying. But yeah, he played his role perfectly. I would probably go about a 7.
Okay, so you want to put him at a 7, which would put him in the same level as we put Booker and Malenko.
See, I didn't have any input on those.
Good.
so-
Hold on. Yes, for different reasons though.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, honestly,
I mean, we've got Raven at 6.5. So would you say he's a better than Raven?
He's on par.
Okay.
so maybe we'll go 6.5.
6'5", yeah.
6.5. I think 6.5.
So we've got another big man show at 6, which doesn't mean it's anything terrible.
I think Kane's move set's better than Big Show's.
And
Yes.
shows was a 6 because Show at a younger age, with his inexperience, he was a way better wrestler.
Somehow.
But as he aged, even middle aged in his mid-30s, his moveset drastically declined. And that's why we gave him a 6. So you're saying a 7, which is not bad at all. I mean, he could move.
Yeah.
He could move.
He had a good jumping clothesline.
So my thing with Taker is just like our review of the match between Eddie Guerrero and Ric Flair. Can Kane work with all styles of wrestlers? And that's where the 7 to me might be a little high. Can he work? I know he tagged with X-Pac. He worked in the tag division. But could he work with technical wrestlers the same he could work with your high flyers, the same he could work? Obviously, he worked with power guys just fine. It's viewing that can he fit in there? You know, watching some of those guys in that era, can he work those matches? If you look back on it, and right now thinking, Kane, yes, he could have fulfilled. He struggled with the technical guys, and that's because he was always played the big guy role.
Yeah, the big guy. But when you're playing that big guy role, you always struggle against the technical guys because that's just the absurdity of the matchup.
So we're saying 7.
Yes.
All right, now let's get to the exciting part. Entrance.
9.
9.
Get out of town. You guys are putting it at a
Dude.
9?
The red camera, the explosive fire when he walks out, the pulling on the gloves, and you get in the ring.
The ring posts.
Oh,
yeah.
9.
You're
That's
doing
a
a
9.
9 over RVD's
Yes,
7.
9.
Yes.
I like
9.
Kane's entrance
man.
better than RVD's.
You guys are
hands.
killing
Kane's.
me.
Whenever I was a kid, Kane's entrance genuinely terrified me.
It was
So.
epic.
I
Yes.
mean, you're going 9. You guys are going a 9.
That's this
A
many.
9. That's right. Do it again.
That's this many.
Whatever that is, okay? That's that many. And you're going, that's 3 over Gilbert. You guys.
What did
Yes.
we give Gilbert?
Gilbert was a 6.
Yeah.
9.
Okay.
A
Like-
9.
Like, okay, so I will say, iconically, absolutely, Kane deserves all of that. The issue I have with Kane entrance, to where I won't say 9 whatsoever. There's no 9. It's because the only thing about his entrance that is mildly up there in tier that you could say, oh, I'll never forget that, is his hands up and his hands down and the flames coming up.
Oh, if you take him out of the pyro and all that era and put him into now where they don't do that,
So Corporate Kane struggled because
you didn't have that
it
power.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
It wasn't there. So rating Kane all over, I would give him another 7.
I'd say that's fair.
Because
After you get out of the explosive pyrotechnic era and into the where they cut out the fireworks and all that stuff, his entrance definitely suffered from that.
I would say that's also kind of an unfair criticism, though, because if you take the theatrics away from a lot of wrestlers who do have good entrances, you could do that to anybody.
but
and it would be
RVD
bad.
never had pyro. His was just his song combined with his character,
Yeah.
combined with his ability to taunt, his taunts, right? His promo ability.
True.
He didn't need that extras. So that's why if RVD's a 7, I can't put Kane above that because Kane used pyro. And when he didn't use pyro, it was very flat.
To me, the pyro factors in, so I'm still gonna.
You're still giving him a 9.
I'll come down from the 9.
I'll come down from the 9 because of Corporate Kane.
I'll give him. I'll go up to a 7.5, just because his music for me was top tier. Like
What-
his music for me is like a 9.
Now, did
Oh,
his,
9.
I can't remember off the top of my head. We'd have to look it up. But did his music change throughout his
Over the
career?
years, definitely.
Slight changes.
His average music after he got out of the beginning when he first started, it was all like organ, and once they added that rock element to it, that's a hard 9 for me.
Okay, so
So I'm still teetering at like an 8, but
I'll go 7.5 just because if you do take the pyro, it does take a good amount. But I always preferred Kane's music over RVD's.
and
so-
also I would argue that another good example is The Undertaker has a really cool entrance, but if you turn the lights on, you don't give him smoke. Like, well, yeah, you can do that to a
you're
lot of
shaving
people.
2 points off of it right there.
You're shaving a lot of points
Right.
off of that.
So-
but Taker never did that.
Yeah.
He never did that. Now, what Taker did do is he left the lights on, put strobes on, add motorcycle.
Yeah, that worked out well for a while.
American Badass, his favorite
I-
Taker character of all time.
That is a story for another time.
But so not digressing or getting away, but I would say I would give it an 8 for that fact that you know the song, you know who's coming out. The only thing that would take away from was that time to where he had to play that corporate Kane part that was like it took away from his entrance but it added to his character.
Right. I'd say 8's fair.
It's fair.
All right.
8's fair. So
All right, so here's the next one that I will debate with all of you on his promo ability. I'm sorry, Mr. Jacobs, it's not very good.
I'm gonna give him a 4.
Yeah, it's not very good.
It's not great.
Okay.
That was actually probably his best promo.
He was very hard. I was glad that when he was in See No Evil that he didn't speak. Like he's just a monster of a man. He's
No arguments from my
just,
side, by the way.
He didn't. Like if he would have had manager his entire career and then had to talk for him, then yeah, that would have been completely fine.
That was definitely not his strong suit.
He's not. So we say 4.
I love Kane, and that is not his
4.
strong suit. 4.
It was
at best. 4.
It wasn't terrible. At times it was painful. He could get by, right? He could
Yes.
get by. So
Yes.
4.
4.
All right. So let's go to the next one we alluded to in entrance. So his character, since it has been a broad spectrum, which was interesting at the time of the American Badass, he was still Kane. He didn't change.
He was still the Big Red Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Let me chime in here, and I'm curious what you guys think about this. Depending on who you are, Kane's character is either high or very low.
yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
honestly, it's like, for me, the Big Red Machine era, the character itself, most of the time, is an 8 or a 9.
Yes.
Once you get to the corporate Kane, honestly, the character suffers a bit because
Yes. A
you lose
5.
that power menace, and he becomes more of that corporate goon.
Jim
not a-
the accountant.
He's not a monster anymore. He's not a
He's a
beast.
giant
He's-
dude, but he doesn't
Yeah.
destroy everything.
Yeah, the hardcore match he had, who was it with? Braun Strowman or someone, and it was just hard to get behind.
So
It's really hard. So his character. So what would you rate Glen Jacobs' ability to portray the Kane character throughout his entire career?
6.
Okay, we're gonna debate on this. I would say 8. Now, hear me out. It's because, like what you said earlier, he can get those really stupid storylines.
True.
Like he can drag the corpses of those terrible storylines. So I would say 8, just because he has the ability to overcome abysmal booking.
So would you say that's because his ability as a good, knowledgeable wrestler to do that, pull it, or is it the fact that his character was a spawn from Taker? He got that rub early.
Oh, yeah,
and
that
he
early
ran
rub
with it.
That
Definitely helped.
okay, that does
The
help a lot.
early rub definitely helped. I would say that's why I said 6.
I would say adaptability still brings him pretty high. Like as Glen Jacobs the wrestler, that does kind of keep him really high. The fact that you can give him some abysmally stupid storylines and yet, yeah, that's still Kane. And no real issues from his part. So now that you bring in that rub from Taker, I would say probably a 7.5.
Okay, I could take a 7.5 only because there was a time frame when Taker was out and Kane was still in, and
Yeah.
he still held his own.
Yeah.
Taker won the world championship in 20. What was it? Oh God, 07? No.
I wasn't watching it.
It was whenever he defeated Edge, I believe. Or no, he defeated CM Punk.
Yeah. So he still won it. Taker was part part-time.
For the most part, yeah.
So he wasn't around. So the rub from Take was gone. It was taken away after the Brothers of Destruction had dissolved. So I would say for Kane, once Take went part-time and the Mania went on, and Taker was solely about the WrestleMania matches, Taker continued his career on his own without that rub, would give him a solid at least 7.
Yeah.
Granted, he got a skyrocket boost. He was able to withhold that at a
Drug
steady,
that boost out for
consistent
14 years.
Exactly. So it was the rub, but he was still good enough to continue his career long into the corporate Kane.
He was always an upper mid carder. I mean, even if he was a lower top tier card, I mean,
even when he was brought back within the last 5 years, he wasn't brought back into the lower mid card. It was still this is Kane. Like it's
Also,
Kane.
even when he was a little out of shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I would argue that how many wrestlers did start off with a massive rub and just do nothing with it?
It's happened a lot.
Like, Ludwig Borga started off in the main event fighting like Luger. Who else?
You could even you could definitely argue the Iron Sheik.
Iron Sheik.
Well, also,
a little bit.
One of the biggest leeches, and it's horrible to say, but it's true, is Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Oh my God!
Yes.
I mean, then you have Horace and WCW.
He main evented a Starcade.
Yeah, I mean, there's just never ran. But so Glen Jacobs' ability to play the role as Kane and extend it out as far as you can. I would say it's at least a 7 at minimum, because that's the tier where you go, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You've kept it long, and he didn't keep it on Indies either. He was in the show.
He was making it big bucks.
So
I mean, 7, 7.5. Where do we finish in 7?
7's fine. If
Yeah,
you want to
we'll
go,
do 7.
if you want to go 7.
all right, so now Attire. This one is extremely subjective. Very, very subjective. Let's go comparatively. Kane.
That's why Kane's the hard one to do.
Kane compared to Johnny B. Bad. Johnny B. Bad is a 5, right? Because he was very all over the place. Let's go RVD. I think was the highest at an 8 so far. Jimmy Wang Yang was a 6. Jim Duggan was a 6 for multiple reasons because of the variety. But I will say, let's just go with RVD. He was our highest rated wrestler before Kane for a lot of reasons. So, and what's even funnier is these guys have similar attires as
They tag together.
At one time, Kane started off full outfit, right?
Full bodysuit with
He had
just the one arm
One
out.
arm, yeah. And then it kind of went to more of the long pants with the tights and the singlet. And then it went...
It wasn't a doublet, though. It wasn't a singlet.
I think he had a double at one point.
Yeah.
So his
Kinda morphed a little
his
bit.
attire, it changed. It's consistent, flames, hand down, until
The
he
red
went
and the
to
black.
corporate Kane, and it was the dress pants and slacks and stuff. So what would you say, again, not comparing, but right now, he is right there with RVD as our highest ranked wrestler. So his attire overall, from start to finish, Kane, not Dr. Isaac Yankum, not the Christmas goblin guy, like or fake take,
The
or
Christmas
Diesel.
gobbler.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I take like 4 points away for corporate Kane because that doesn't do much for me. But like at the same time, I also give points back because the red and the black attire, even though he changed the look of it, was good. I would say if you're gonna go with Kane, I take points away from the corporate era, but you give a lot of that back for just the originality and just how it kind of morphed and got better. I mean, the fake hair with the mask was a bit much sometimes when it fell off.
That's the down.
So I can't rate him higher than RVD for sure. I would definitely rate him lower. I mean, 6.5 or 7 maybe, at most.
I'm on the same page as you. If he never would have done corporate Kane, that's a 9. That's a 9, maybe a 9.5. I love that mask. The mask is awesome. He's massive. The get up is cool. But he had to put on a suit and tie. And he had to demask. So, yeah, I'd probably go down to like a 6.5 maybe.
So I'm hop on the roller coaster with both of you guys and add a little bit more. So we had original Kane, amazing mask, couldn't breathe out of. Okay. And then he adds in, right, he can't talk, right? So he goes for that route for a long time. And it was on point because he was very consistent with his ring attire. And what happened was like you pointed out, he demasked, fake hair, weird things around his eyes because he painted them. But the problem with me was the roller coaster with Kane's attire was definitely ups and downs. And it had the ups, but the downs were like nosedives. And that's because, so when he had like the hair, he still had this weird like Uncle Fester hair in the back. And that bothered me a lot. And I was like, ooh, no. But then he came back after See No Evil, Hear No Evil, or whatever his horror movie was that there was 2 of them over, that he came back, he had a different mask. His attire was slightly different. And it was a tribute to that movie. So to say that his attire was bad had aspects that were very bad. But it's almost like he always countered it with something good. That being said, when he was Corporate Kane, he was never IRS man. Corporate Kane was always dressed like William Regal when William Regal became a fully suited dressed man. So that being said, I would say it was a downfall for him. It was, but he made the best because he always wore an appropriate suit.
Yes.
And it was never the same suit.
Yes, he's not John Cena wearing jorts every
Right.
for
So
2 decades.
To me, it was definitely a notch. You definitely notch that down because it's not there. That'd be cool if he would have kept like a tie that had the flames on it or something.
Ooh.
See, that had paid that little tribute, or he would have had like a red dress shirt on and then like the white, like he would have kept something, but he didn't. So it knocks down. So I would definitely, the minimum would be the highest for the mid card. So it's at least a 6, no lower for me.
I just had a thought that would just ruin it, but you get a suit with little burn parts singed off. He's got a burn in the ass, so he walks with essentially assless chaps.
So the stowaway's got some interesting night's dreams there.
All right, so what are we concurring on for the attire?
I say 6.5.
6.5, 6.5 going once.
I would go. See, the problem with 6.5 for me is I love that original look so much that I would at least put him a 7, or I would put him a 7, just solely buoyed by that first look.
Okay, so take out Corporate Kane. What do you put him?
Without Corporate Kane, I put him right there with RVD at an 8.
Yeah.
An 8. Okay,
You
so
add Corporate Kane, and that's what brings it down to a 6.5 for me. I mean, I'll go. I could totally see 7 too, but I take a little bit extra away.
Yeah, me it's similar, but like for me, like the original's a 9. Corporate Kane brings it down to like a 7.
let's see, divide that.
He's bringing in math.
Yeah,
You know,
right,
it's
this is
6.75 is what's between 6.5 and 7.
Right. So yeah.
6.93.
How did I get 43 in this?
So we were debating between 6.5 and 7, and Kane somehow got a 92. We're not really sure what happened, but we're gonna go with it.
All right, his overall is a 6.6.
All he did was type boob in the calculator. He didn't even
So-
try.
So I would have said to raise it up to a 7. As
Okay.
I give him
Yeah.
props for his ability to run with a very vanilla Corporate Kane to at least add some flavor. He could have done better, but it could have done way worse. But really attributing to the factor that he kept with the Kane aspect, the mask, he still came back up from his lulls, unlike some wrestlers did. So
Corporate Kane would have killed lesser wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to say for this Rassler review of Kane would be moves is a 7, entrance is an 8, promo is a 4, character is a 7, and attire is a 7 for an overall of 6.6.
Nice.
I agree with that average for the most part. I mean, he was one of my favorite wrestlers as a kid, so, I mean, when you get to that bottom average, it kind of hurts, but at the same time, it makes sense because when you evaluate the total Kane character, you can't just be like, oh, he's a 10 out of 10. That's not true.
Yeah, I think the guys who would actually make that are the ones that did have the consistently great runs, like, like in Austin or, The Rock, which, I mean, The Rock, you can argue Rocky Maivia, but it's like Kane, you got Corporate Kane, you got...
Yeah, the Brothers of Destruction Kane. Like, then you got the Xbox Tag Team Kane. Like, so, I mean... If you think about the 6.6 rating for Kane, isn't that about so for his career?
Oh, yeah.
He's at the cusp of being that next level, but he's just right there. He's just there. So it's like, all right, well, we need a holdover guy. Bring up Kane.
Yeah, I mean...
Because he lost to a big star, it's not going to hurt him.
No.
Because he can go right back down to an upper mid-card.
And just destroy him.
And be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's a good point. I mean... That gimmick, if you'd have given it to anyone other than Glen Jacobs, probably would have died after the Undertaker story.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Reese. I don't know if you, the WCW guy. Look how many characters he was.
The
Like, I mean, big guy. Give him different. They just fail. It's. Look at how like not saying anything. The last time I looked at it, Omos. He's the new big guy in WWE, and unfortunately, he's going to be like a lot of the other big guys. They just don't make it. They just get pushed out because they
don't have the wrestling skills.
They don't have it.
Even to be the stereotypical big man, you need skills.
Made that dude Glen Jacobs jump off top rope, giving a clothesline.
Let's not forget when the Big Show was 23 or 24, he was doing drop kicks off the top rope.
That is true.
So that's 400 something pounds coming at you with a missile drop kick. That's a missile drop kick.
Yeah.
This isn't Juventud Guerrero coming off the top rope. This is two Juventudes coming at you at once.
This is an actual missile.
So we're gonna give him a 6.8.
6.6.
6.6
for Kane.
6.6 for Kane. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
it's very fair.
Yeah. To be fair.
So this is the first Rassler review in ages. So let's go ahead and let's put this one in the books.
Bam. Down. Right.
The captain's lost his marbles.
The captain's lost his marbles. There's about to be a mutiny. Until next time, folks.